okay, and make the wheels turn for at least a couple moments. So we find point number one was the militant takeover, right? He's coming in, and this is the Antichrist is going to come in preaching and teaching peace, and he's coming into chaos. Remember, he's coming into chaos. He's going to come in preaching and teaching peace, and of course that peace is not going to last at all, because he's going to come in, and what follows right after him is seal number 2. Seal number 2 is broken, and we find that the next thing that happens is murderous attitudes. Murderous attitudes. Notice that the color of this horse is fiery red. The color of the horse is fiery red. The horse is red, signifying the bloody wars that will take place. The Antichrist will not bring true peace. He will not bring true peace. He's not going to bring peace. He's not going to bring real peace. It will seem like peace for a while. Okay? It will seem like peace for a while. There's going to be a calm, maybe, if you will, among people, among governments, and it's going to seem like a time of peace. Now, there's going to be chaos everywhere as far as really what's going on behind the scenes, but it's going to seem like peace on the outside. Okay, he's going to bring everybody together, and we'll talk about this in a little more detail. He's going to bring everybody together with we're going to have a one world government. Okay, at some point, one world government. It's all going to come together. We're all going to be under one supreme leader. That will be the Antichrist. Okay, we will all be under. The world will have a one world religion. Okay, all this stuff is going to happen. We'll have one world currency. Okay, all this stuff is going to happen. As a matter of fact, the one world currency is already being pushed right now. It is already being pushed right now. China, for years, have been pushing for a one world currency, for everybody in the entire world to use a single currency. And the first thought, is, well, that would sure be convenient. That might be, if I travel to wherever, I don't have to worry about getting the exchange rate and all that kind of stuff. And that's probably what people are thinking. And, of course, I'm thinking, I was asked this week because, again, my eschatology says that we're going to be gone, okay? After chapter 4 verse 1, we're out of here, okay? Church isn't mentioned. But I was asked this week, hey, what are you going to do if the Antichrist is revealed to us while you're still alive? I said, I'll change my view, all right? So, I'll be like, hey, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong. We'll be here when the Antichrist is revealed. Of course, if we are, it'll probably be real difficult to be having church like we are right now. The guy whoever this is going to be a smooth-talking individual, okay? He's going to be a smooth-talking individual. And we've talked, some of us, about who we think is going to be somebody like this and somebody like that, and he's going to be smooth. He's going to be smooth talking. But when he comes, he's going to come preaching and teaching peace, and that he's going to bring order to the world, and people are just going to rally behind him. Okay, people are going to rally behind him because of when it talks about Jesus wearing a crown, it is diadem. Diadem is the crown that Jesus wears. It is the crown of the king. That's the crown that Jesus wears, and it is completely different than this one that was given to the rider on the white horse. Okay, his power was given to him by someone other than himself. Okay, he doesn't have power like Jesus does. Jesus has power. Jesus is power. Okay, that's who he is. That is just an impersonator. But coming behind him is going to be wars, and lots of them. Matthew chapter 24, verses 6 and 7, Jesus is speaking. And if you're looking at, we have to look more than just in the book of Revelation, okay? More than just the book of Revelation for, to develop this and to bring this out. Matthew chapter 24, verse 6 and 7, Jesus is speaking on the end times, okay? If you're gonna, if you're gonna listen to anybody, this is the guy, okay? This is the one that you're gonna listen to. And he's talking about in Matthew 24, verse 6 and 7, about wars and rumors of wars in the last days. And this is just before the tribulation. This is just before the tribulation. Before the tribulation starts, before the tribulation begins, there will be, the spaghetti was good tonight, okay? Both times. Sorry, that threw me off a little bit. But we're going to have wars and rumors of wars in the last days. I mean, if that doesn't sound like today, I don't know what does, right? I mean, you see all the time. Of course, I don't put much stock, and you should not put much stock into any article that you ever find on any social media page ever. Okay, don't put a lot of stock in it. But you see stuff all the time. About potential. This is going to lead us to World War III. This is going to lead us to World War III. You know, if you do this, if we do this, then this is going to happen, and and all this stuff is going to happen. But I mean, everywhere we turn, there are rumors of war, right?
I got a question, Pastor. In verse 6,
Okay.
it says, "And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you not be troubled." Who's he talking to? If the church is already gone.
This is before tribulation.
Okay.
He's talking in the end times, in the last days, is what Jesus is talking about there in verse 6 and 7. Yes. He hasn't gotten to tribulation period. He will later in that same chapter, but he hasn't gotten to the tribulation yet. Yes, sir. Yeah, he's talking to us. He's talking to us as Christians when he says, "Don't be troubled." Yes, he's talking to us because he's talking end days. Well, that's what we're in right now. We are in the end times. There are wars and rumors of wars everywhere we turn, right? North Korea is doing all these missile tests, right? Have y'all, I mean, I don't watch the news because it's all bad news, okay? It's just depressing, ticks me off. I want to throw something at my TV, all right? But, you know, they're doing all these ballistic tests, right? And, you know, that's basically an act of war. They are spitting in the face of, all of the allegations, and, we're going to smack them, we're going to slap them on the hand and all that kind of stuff, and they really don't care about that. But there are wars and rumors of wars everywhere you turn. Well, when we get to the tribulation period, okay, when we get there is going to be the culmination of all of these rumors, of all of the tension that is building. And there's a lot. Would you agree? I mean, there's a lot. All of the tension that is building on earth, all of the people that just despise each other, eventually it is going to be unleashed. And there's going to be just mass war and mass chaos everywhere that we look. The Antichrist will need anarchy to establish peace and set himself up as supreme by the halfway point. Again, 3.5 years in, he's going to be the supreme. The supreme one is what the Antichrist is looking for. He's going to need this chaos. He's going to need to try to bring, in order to bring everybody together, he's going to need the wars. Okay, he's going to need the chaos, right? Y'all understand how that would work? Okay, you have to have chaos in order for somebody to take over.
If you think it's the Antichrist is sitting on the white horse, who do you think is sitting on the red horse? Because it doesn't tell us.
Specifically, I don't know.
You think it may be Satan's demons, or?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any idea. I couldn't. He is given a personal pronoun as well, though, and he who sat on it. So obviously, it's probably going to be somebody or something that's going to come. Maybe some sort of general or something that's under the Antichrist. But I really don't know. Somebody asked another question. We ain't got that kind of time, huh? Okay. Anyway. All right, no more questions from the audience now, all right? But whoever this is, if it is someone that is leading the charge in all of this wars, it may be an instigator. It could be somebody that's never even revealed to the public eye, but it'll be somebody that is instigating all of this stuff. Because at the time, the Antichrist will be leading a world power. Okay, he'll be leading a world power, and they'll be trying to come together. Of course, they're not going to be able to, and all of this anarchy will come about, and he needs anarchy in order to establish peace. Okay, that's what's going to happen. And of course, keeping the MO of sin, Satan promises a fun time, and it is for a while, but it only ends in destruction. That's sin always is going to lead to the destruction. That's what this is telling us. Yes, the Antichrist is going to come in, and man, things are going to seem like he's going to seem like the man. He's going to seem like the man, and boy, everybody's just going to be looking to Him and praising Him, and everything's going to seem good, great, grand, and wonderful. But just like sin, because the Bible says there's pleasure in sin, right? There is pleasure. There's pleasure in sin. If there was no pleasure in sin, it wouldn't tempt you. But of course, there's pleasure in sin. What? Finish it. For a season. For a season. Just keeping the MO of sin, the way that it always operates. Sin is going to promise a good time. It's going to promise peace. The Antichrist is going to promise peace. And he's going to try to establish peace. And it's all going to come crumbling down. It's all going to lead to destruction, because that's what sin does. That's what sin does. So let's move on, because we need to get finished with these two. We're going to hit the last two pretty quickly, okay? The next one, verses 5 and 6. If you're taking notes, number 3 is meager crops. Meager crops. Verse 5 and 6. And he opened the third seal, and I heard a third living creature say, "Come and see." Or literally, he's saying, Come on out. And so I looked, and behold, a black horse, and he who sat on him had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the 4 living creatures saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarii, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarii, and do not harm the oil and the wine." Let me tell you exactly. You say, well, what exactly is that talking about? Here's what that is talking about. During this time, during this tribulation time, you know what always follows war? Famine. Famine always follows war. So you know what's going to follow war in the tribulation? Famine. Famine is going to follow war. This is, again, my view. Okay, how I see the book of Revelation is it's all future. Okay, once you pass chapter 4. Okay, it's all future. It's all what's going to happen. And I've never seen it. I mean, we've seen famines, right? We've never seen it on a worldwide scale, to my knowledge. Okay. I'm only 32. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I've never seen it or heard of it on a worldwide scale, especially to this length. Okay, especially to this length. Because let me kind of explain to you exactly what's going on. What kind of famine we're in here is people are going to work all day. You're going to put in a full day's work just to buy bread. That's what it means there when it in verse 6. A quart of wheat for a denarii, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarii. That denarii, that is a day's wage. That's what that is. And so you're going to work all day long just to be able to buy a little bit of food. That's pretty rough. That's some pretty rough stuff. Again, we were talking at lunch today, Steve and I, and the most important thing we've got to get out of this is make sure that we're right with God, and the people that we know are right with God, so that we don't have to experience and go through and experience the wrath of God. Because this is going to be some rough stuff, some rough living. Can you imagine, a lot of you in here worked all day, okay? Put in 8 hours, or longer, or longer. Matt Marchman, y'all know he's a lineman. He texted me today, "Hey, I'm not gonna make it to church today." He's out working. Been working for a long time. So he's put in a lot of hours. Can you imagine working all day long and then going to the grocery store and not barely being able to buy a loaf of bread with everything that you work for all day? That's rough. That's hard living, but that's what's going to happen. There's going to be worldwide famine. This is just seal number 3. Okay, worldwide famine. Seal number 4 is broken. So what's going to follow? What follows meager crops is mass death. We have the Antichrist is going to show up. Then we're going to have wars that break out everywhere. Following war, famine always follows war. You know what follows famine? When people are starving? Death. Death follows famine. Verse 7 and 8. And when he opened the 4th seal, I heard the voice of the 4th living creature saying, "Come and see." So I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and the name of him who sat on it was Death, and Hades followed with him. And power was given over him over a fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, with hunger, with death, and by the beasts of the earth. So here we have a time during the tribulation where death is going to come to 1/4 of the population. He's given power, verse 8. Given power over a 1/4 of the earth. Okay, how many people are in the earth, are on earth right now? It's about 7, ain't it? I think it's 7 billion. Didn't we just go over the 7 billion mark? I think we did. Now, well, that includes Christians. Okay, so we'd have to take all those out. But a fourth of 7 billion is. Oh, come on, Cassie, come on. So right at a little less than 2 billion people are going to die. Whoa. That's bad. And not only that, but it tells us how they're going to die. One of the ways is by hunger, of course, because there's famine. All right? There's famine. Look, I hope I'm right. All right? I think I am. I think I am. I'm pretty sure that I am. I've studied it before, and I'm studying it now, and yeah, there are times where I'm looking at it and I'm reading stuff, and I'm like, well, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Okay, I hope I am, because I don't want to be around for this. All right, I just believe that God's gonna bring us out before He dumps His wrath out on us. Look, if there's a way that I could, if I could choose my death, it would not be starving to death. Okay? It just wouldn't be. I like to eat. Okay? I enjoy food. That would not be a way that I would want to go. But that's how people, a fourth of the world is going to die. Some by hunger, some by the sword in wars. Okay? Of course. And then by beasts of the earth, they're going to be, just mauled and killed. I mean, people are just going to be dying all over the place. A fourth of the world is going to die in this fourth seal when death shows up. There's a lot that goes on. We could probably. I've got like 5 minutes. Do you want to finish the chapter, or do you want me to do it? Okay. Somebody said go. All right. I don't even have notes. All right, well, Cassie said no. I'm just kidding. Verse 9, and when he opened the fifth seal, and under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of God and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, until you judge and avenge our blood on those who dwell on earth? Then a white robe was given to each of them, and it was said to them that they should rest a little while longer, until both the number of their fellow servants and their brethren who would be killed as they were was completed. Here we have in the last two seals, okay, verses 12 through 17 as well, we have the same thing, okay? The last two seals are two prayers, okay? We have two prayers here in the last two seals. In the sixth seal here, we find the prayer of the martyrs, or the fifth seal, I'm sorry, the fifth seal. The fifth seal, we have the prayer of the martyrs, those that have been killed for the cause of Christ. Those that have been murdered, that were saved during the tribulation period, okay? These martyrs, these people that have died for the cause of Christ are now in heaven, and their prayer to God is when are we going to really, when are you going to, avenge our deaths? Because the Bible says that vengeance is mine, says the Lord. You're exactly right. They're saying, hey, how long are you going to be merciful? How long are you going to keep these people living? And God then tells talking to the martyrs, said, well, not everybody who's going to die has died yet. In essence, that's what happens. Okay, they're talking to Jesus, and he says, there's others that are about to join you. Okay. That's the sixth seal, is the martyr's prayer. And then we find, or the fifth seal, I'm sorry. And then we find the sixth seal, where we have a lot of natural disasters that are going to happen. Okay? We have a lot of natural disasters that are going to take place. And we have another prayer that's going to be offered up. One that's not heard. One that is not answered. We find here, in verse 16, and to the mountains, these are mighty men. Mighty men, these are the people that are in charge, okay? And they're going to say to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand. So we find another prayer here, very different than the one beforehand, right? This one is, they're doing their best. These people are trying to die. They are begging for God to kill us. Because they're experiencing the wrath of God, and they're saying, hey, this is his day of wrath, and we would rather you just go ahead and kill us now. We'd rather just go ahead and die than have to go through this any longer. That has to be some pretty rough stuff going on. You know, in order for somebody to want to die because of everything that's going on. And the stars, look in verse 13, and the stars of heaven fell on the earth as a fig tree drops its late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. And the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the kings of earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave, and every free man hid themselves in the caves and the rocks of the mountains. So we have, in essence, a meteor shower, that starts falling down on the earth, and earthquakes everywhere. And these guys are people are doing everything they can to hide from it and begging God to kill them now. To kill us now, so that we don't have to endure your wrath any longer. But it is a prayer that will not be answered. It's a prayer that will not be answered. Again, the most important thing, number one, about the book of Revelation is the book of Revelation is all about Jesus. It is the unleashing, it is the revealing of Christ to us, okay, and who He is. And what we understand, you say, well, what is this showing us about Jesus? It shows us, first and foremost, that Jesus is holy. He is holy, and He will not tolerate sin, and He will bring judgment on sin. Okay, one day, all of this, all of the people that think that they're getting away with it, everybody that thinks that Jesus is not paying attention and that they've gotten away with their sin, are going to find out that they were sorely mistaken. We need to make sure that we're right with God. The people that we know, love, and care about are right with God. In a couple weeks, we're going to pick back up. We'll look at the seventh seal. We'll pick up there, and we'll start talking about the 144,000. The seventh seal is the 140. We'll find the 144,000, who they are, what's their job, what's the point, what are they doing, and we'll. That's not them. We'll talk about